It's safe to say that the Pacific Northwest excursion from the summer of 2023 was a huge success. Today, we're going to assess all of the amazing flights that we had, along with the plane spotting sessions, the museums we checked out, and all the other various material. I hope all of you are excited for today's video, and without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Welcome everybody to the Pacific Northwest recap from July of 2023. I hope all of you are excited for today's summary as we dive into all you need to know about how this trip went and overall how fantastic it was. Yes, I am a little stocked up congestion wise, so I apologize for that, but nevertheless, this is the reality. We grind here on the channel, and I'm not going to let a little bit of congestion stop me here from concluding what an amazing trip this was today. So again, I hope each and every one of you are excited for this, and without any further delay, everybody, let's just go ahead and get started. So once again, the Pacific Northwest trip took place from July 9th to 19th of 2023. At this time, this was the longest trip I ever took, spanning over 10 days, which was truly incredible. And, so many various airplanes that we flew during this trip, so many airports that we spotted at. We checked out so much, and this really became the formula for some of these massive aviation trips I've been fortunate enough to do over 2023 and beyond. So just feeling extremely fortunate to get to summarize this today. I know this isn't going to be my most popular video, but I am extremely happy to be making this video, and I kind of got at it at the last trip or in this trip. It was just an incredible time, and it really goes to show how planning goes into effect, and watching it come to fruition is just a truly surreal feeling. And while so much money was spent here, you got to look at what was done and just all the memories, and sometimes you just got to hold your nose and just go push the button and do it, and that's exactly what we did for this trip. So once again, I hope all of you are excited. We're going to go video by video and summarize how amazing this trip was, so I hope all of you are excited for this. Let me just go ahead and zoom in, and we will go ahead and get into all the details from this amazing trip and what went into making this a reality. Let's go ahead and get started. The first video was the introduction to this trip. I went over an outline of what to expect content-wise. I actually ended up adding on some videos to this, so that's a positive. And overall, there was just so many, fun, previews to look at, and, kind of the thumbnail really starts to dive into what to expect. So that was definitely a fun video to make, and hopefully that was a good appetizer. I'll be sure to do that for the big trips moving forward, as I really enjoyed, outlining in that way. And again, I hope all of you enjoyed it. The first flight of this trip, the first flights, was on Southwest with their Boeing 737-800 from Tulsa to Indianapolis via Houston Hobby. This was a fun time to, just start to get the anticipation up and think about the trip and all that, and also cover some cool pieces in between, like the Houston Hobby Airport and whatnot. So I'll be excited to make the video on the Hobby Airport, so expect that to come. But overall, this was a really great flight, and certainly really enjoyed it as we made our way over to Indianapolis to position ourselves for the first flight of this trip, which was absolutely incredible, or the first, major flight. I mean, Southwest is still fantastic, but as for the first, memorable, really, really unique, and what, I'm going to think about with this trip. And that's exactly what the next video had, which thank you all so much for the support on it. I'm so happy that it performed so well, so many of you could see it. The first class trip report on Alaska from Indianapolis to Seattle on their Boeing 737 MAX 9. This was a wonderful flight. This was one of the best I've ever done. This was my 100th flight, and I really enjoyed getting to cover, a really enhanced version of first class on a longer segment. I've covered it in the past, but it's only been on short flights. So to be able to see what it's all about, and how incredible Alaska Airlines service is. They are truly a sensational airline, and I'm feeling super fortunate that I got to cover it in this capacity today. So what an incredible time that was. I highly recommend that one. That was one of my favorite videos I made on this trip, and it really set the tone for the rest of it. And again, feeling extremely fortunate. It was certainly worth the extra money to make that a reality on that day. And there's no doubt that will certainly be such a memorable moment from this trip. So absolutely go check it out. It was a bunch of fun, and looking super forward to sharing more flights like that in the future. But no doubt one of the most memorable I've ever had, and that was super fun on that day. So that was absolutely awesome. And that got us over to Seattle Tacoma International Airport for the very first time. What an incredible airport Seattle is. It's truly, truly sensational and very magical, I would argue. As we had our first plane spotting session there, which was wide body aircraft. And I mean, just the variety spoke for itself. Obviously it was during the summer, so we had sun, and some clouds came in and the sun came back. So the climate there is very unique, but fortunate to score some really, really great shots out of that. And it was truly, once again, a sensational time. I can't recommend checking that out enough to just gain a great appreciation for what kind of aircraft come in. You have your Asia Pacific in the morning, then the first Alaska bank comes in, then you have some European arrivals, then you go back to the Alaska bank, then the afternoon, Middle East planes come in. It's just so cool to think about all the variety that you'll see at Seattle and just what goes into it. So that was the first plane spotting session. No doubt we saw so much that we haven't seen before, particularly Alaska Airlines. But again, it was so much fun. I'm so glad we got to make that. So it was absolutely awesome. We then took it into the Seattle-Tacoma Airport Tour, which I'm so glad so many of you have enjoyed that. And thank you to the YouTube algorithm for liking the airport tour videos. This was another really good one. I did my best to cover as much of it as I could because obviously I haven't checked out the full airport before, but it was great to, use some supplemental material like we typically do in those videos and really dive into what that airport's all about. And it's a really cool one. It's very unique with the landscape and how it's set up, and it also functions pretty efficiently considering its landscapes. So once again, very happy with how that turned out, and I can't recommend enough to check it out if you're interested in a video like that. The Alaska Airlines Company Store is one of the biggest gyms in the United States of America if you're a model aircraft collector or like any sort of Alaska Airlines memorabilia. The great model deals, they are truly sensational in conjunction with all the cool clothing and memorabilia you can buy as well. Really awesome that they have a storefront. I'm feeling fortunate to check it out and bring it to all of you. I'm so glad many of you enjoyed that video as well, and I can't recommend ordering from their website enough. I actually have a tab open to order some models from them here in the near future, so very excited for that. But as of for, the landscape of the Alaska Airlines Company Store, it's fantastic, and I can't recommend checking it out enough as it's truly one of a kind in so many ways. So definitely go check that video out if you're interested. And that then took us on to the Museum of Flight in Seattle at Boeing Field. I mean, this just really starts to get into what Seattle is all about, right? And obviously with Boeing being our only, what's the word I'm looking for? Our only origin aircraft manufacturer and the major level with regards to, Airbus has a plan obviously, but not, their headquarters aren't here. So as of for, a major aircraft manufacturer, even with all their issues, Boeing that is, at this time, it's still just so cool to see the history of what it came to be. And not only the history of Boeing, but also the history of Seattle aviation and what went on in the Pacific Northwest area, obviously enhancing from DC-2s and DC-3s to the 727, 787, 747. It's just so cool to see it all on display. And then on top of that, to see Boeing 777Xs, or 777-9s rather, just taxiing out on the taxiway while all this is going on. It really brings the full picture of aviation together, and thinking about that, right, from the past of aviation to the present to the future. Once again, this is just such it's truly a moving subject to me, and I'm so appreciative that we had the opportunity to check that all out. And that's such another truly one of a kind video that I can't recommend checking out enough to really gain the best appreciation possible for what it's like. So once again, truly incredible, and looking forward to more opportunities there in the future. Once again, the afternoon plane spotting Seattle is absolutely incredible. We got to see their afternoon banks along with some of the European and Middle East arrivals as well, and even a couple of Asia Pacific. The traffic is truly sensational with the amount of variety, and they also had some pretty good cargo too and some other, fun pieces to the puzzle. So lighting once again was fantastic, and it really goes to show how much is possible in that environment. So once again, feel free to check it out, but another very sensational and moving plane spotting session was had there. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Our next video is the absolutely amazing perimeter run / plane spotting at Boeing Field, which is just, man, what a fun environment this is, right? Obviously, you can only see so much, but if you're able to get a vehicle and, cruise the perimeter of the airport and kind of sneak into some fences, you can see some incredible pieces of aviation. So again, the 777-9s on full display doing test flights, Boeing 737 Maxes from airlines just like our local ones here, like Alaska, literally in Seattle right there, all the way over to, Oman Air or whatever example you want to use, Lion Air, or what's the other one I was thinking of? Fly Dubai. There's just so many different planes, and it's really incredible to see it in that landscape. So that is such a fun time. Can't recommend checking that out enough. And it goes right in conjunction with Payne Field, which is incredible up there in the Everett area. It's truly moving to see how aircraft are put together. And in the future, I'll have a video on the Boeing plant tour, so very excited for that. But as of for Payne Field, just seeing the aircraft come together and, how they're built before they go into that test flying and, the painting production at Boeing Field is really cool and obviously a bunch of fun. So really great to get to see that. The Bear Green is just, you can't match it. It doesn't even get close. So again, feeling fortunate in this moment to have seen all that and what it's all about. So that's absolutely incredible. So they changed it up for a little bit here. We head over from aviation to trains with rail fanning here as we have Amtrak's Cascades as we go from Everett, Washington to Vancouver, British Columbia for my first time in Canada. A very pleasant train ride, and I was able to summarize that very well in the video. So feel free to check it out, but I had fun. I'm glad the reception ended up being pretty impressive considering that it's a train video. So happy about that. And again, I hope all of you enjoyed it, as it was a fun way to change it up there on Cascades. That then takes us on to the Canadian aviation landscape, and I can't stress it enough. It is so cool in so many ways to see all the aviation that takes place there. So first and foremost, they have an incredible array of seaplane operations there, and that's exactly where we start here with Harbor Air on their Twin Otter on floats as we fly from Vancouver Bay to Victoria Bay. What an incredible time that is, man. I mean, you can just, it's so cool how the functionality is so different. You can obviously open seating policies, so you can get right up next to the cockpit, see all the avionics and what goes on with that. Then you obviously can't forget about what it's like to feel like you're on a boat for a while and then take off and then cruise solo. It's just all of it came together. That was my first prop flight. What a way to do it. I mean, just sensational right there, and feeling super fortunate for that experience. And I can't recommend checking that video out enough if you're interested in any of the landscape on that. So once again, feeling extremely fortunate, and that was an absolute blast. So really enjoyed that. Which then takes us on to the Victoria International Airport as we then flew out on Pacific Coastal, coming up here in a moment. But first and foremost, Victoria is a very nice, small operation in Canada and British Columbia, particularly, to give us a better appreciation of what those airports are like. And their architecture is very unique, and I think Canadian aviation really does a good job fitting into the culture and the establishment of what that particular city in Canada looks like. The U.S. does a good job as well, but, I think Canada's really got it with regards to really, putting infrastructure into their airports and making it look nice. So no doubt was very happy to see that, and that was definitely very nice. So no doubt about that. The next sequence of videos just continues the fun vibe. We go plane spotting at Victoria, where we saw some planes that we're probably not going to get many chances to see again, like the Swoop 737 MAX 8 in their livery, along with, even Air Canada Rouge aircraft. So it was cool to see that, and there's no doubt the fun that went into that was sensational. So really enjoyed that spotting session, which then takes us on to the $45 Pacific Coastal Beechcraft 1900 flight as we fly from Victoria to Vancouver International. Another just amazing prop flight. It was so much fun. I was in the back on this one, but it was still just as fun to see it from that perspective. Extremely short flight. I believe it's very close, but I believe it's still my shortest airplane flight at this time, which is fantastic. And it's just really cool to think about how all that came together. So I really enjoyed that. I really hope all of you enjoyed watching it, and what a fun time that was. So I'd highly recommend that one, along with the rest of these, of course, but the flights are no doubt a bunch of fun. Plane spotting at Vancouver is incredible. Even during the summer when it's a little top lit, we still were able to get some amazing captures, seeing aircraft like the Lufthansa Boeing 747 and all the Air Canada wide bodies. And then, the really unique planes, all the Pacific Coastal Saab 340s and Beechcrafts. We saw, BAE 146s on this for Summit, which was super unique. And then that definitely takes us into the Air Canada Dash 8s as well, and the WestJet ones. So just an incredible variety of aircraft on top of the internationals. And it really just shows you how much is in this sector of the North American continent aviation wise. So no doubt a bunch of fun. I really enjoyed that experience, as that then takes us on to Flight City, which is a super cool model aircraft store right at the Vancouver International Airport, and they have a wide variety of Gemini jets. They have so many different 1-200s from a variety of manufacturers, along with pilot supplies and many other really cool aviation related items that you can definitely check out. Definitely go there sometime if you ever get the chance, but that video definitely highlights all of what is featured in that store, and I'm so glad I was able to come home with some really cool pieces from that. We then toured Vancouver International Airport, which fortunately I was able to see a good chunk of it and use supplemental material to help out in the case that we didn't, but I really enjoyed that. And if you want to run down on Vancouver and the nice infrastructure, for the most part, there's a couple of sections that could use some work, but for the most part it is extremely nice. I definitely recommend checking that out. And one of the coolest components of Vancouver 100% is definitely the Gemini Jets collection that was donated there. It is a really cool assortment of over 150 1-400 model airplanes, and it was so cool to see all the various, Canadian theme, but also there was a huge fleet. I believe it was Cathay Pacific aircraft. I believe he had like over 12 of them. So it was just so cool to see how particular it was, and I really enjoyed getting to share that here. So once again, very fun, and definitely check that one out if you're interested. And then yet again, another fun plane spotting session at Vancouver, getting to spot that north runway with all the arrivals in conjunction with the plane spotting the day before we left. That was really fun, and I certainly enjoyed that. We also got to check out some really cool airline lounges here at the airport during my time here, including Air Canada's Maple Leaf. I really enjoyed the present there and what they had on offer, so that was no doubt that was a bunch of fun, and I really enjoyed that, to say the least. And we also had the Air Canada Dash 8 Q400 report as we left from Vancouver to Cranbrook. Extremely sentimental time, man. I mean, the whole trip was, but this is really, I have a couple particular songs in my playlist, and anytime I play them, I cannot stop thinking about the darn Cranbrook and what happened there. And it was an incredible time, man. It really was. It was a great time. So I just got to reflect on that and how awesome it was. But I mean, man, that was just so incredible, from doing the 270 turn over the airport, the landing, seeing the amazing B-17 and B-25 that were there. I mean, man, just what a time. All of it just came together so well, considering that, you know, I didn't even know what I was going to do on this layover besides just work on laptop work, right? They only have 2 airlines and 4 flights a day, so I wasn't expecting to be able to do very much. But, you know, positive energy, I'm such a believer in that. And, you know, you always have an optimism, and just because sometimes letting the universe decide what's going to happen, and that was certainly the time for it. So it's tough to think about, but again, it's really fun, and just all of what came with that, and that was just an incredible moment. So just feeling fortunate for that, and always will, and there's no doubt that will continue to be a major emphasis as we continue to move into the future, to just let it work itself out. So that definitely 100% takes us into the Cranbrook Airport, which is an incredible facility. They have great infrastructure, and it's really cool. I really enjoyed on this trip. You know, obviously I could have went directly on to Toronto or whatever. I could have made work during the duration of this trip, but at the same time, you know, to fly these really cool aircraft and also get to check out, you know, get a taste of what some of the different aviation landscape looks like in Canada was so cool. And there's no doubt that seeing the smaller airports really was a big highlight of that. And once again, I let the universe work it out with regards to what I was going to do during these layovers. But again, checking out Cranbrook Airport was awesome. And I know it's not my most popular video, and I honestly don't mind. Hopefully for 95 of you enjoyed it that watched it. But it was a great time, and I really enjoyed it. So absolutely going to be reflecting on that for a long time. That was really cool. Not to mention the plane spotting in Cranbrook, between the military aircraft that we talked about and also the WestJet Saab 340 coming in, my Air Canada Dash 8 leaving. It was a great time. The vibe was immense, and just a truly sensational opportunity to just see what it was all about. So very much enjoyed that, which then takes us into, once again, the aforementioned B-17 and 25 from the CAF Arizona wing. What a surprise that was. It was just so cool. Once again, I had no idea what that layover was going to be, and then just pulling up, it was not even planned. It just literally happened, and goes to show that any universal possibility can become a reality that fast, and that's exactly what happened. So we'll always be thinking about that. But what an awesome time. And then that took us into the WestJet Saab 340 Tripport. This one certainly proved to be so powerful, considering that obviously these are now back with the Pacific Coastal, not flying with WestJet anymore. What an awesome time it was. I really enjoyed that flight. That one was very special for all the reasons, and I had an absolutely great time. So I'm feeling fortunate that was a reality, and what a fun flight that was. Just incredible. Really, I know I've used that word so many different ways, but seriously, it was just, you can't even replace the vibe and the memories that come from, you know, what we went through so far. I don't have many trips at this point that last 40 videos in 5 months, so that's why we spent so much time on this. It was important to recognize each and every little element of this trip and why it became so special to me, and I really appreciate all your support for watching these videos and making it a reality, as that then takes us into the the Calgary International Airport. A really nice airport. It is super nice, so I absolutely recommend checking it out and what it has to encompass. Not only that though, but it's awesome plane spotting as well. Really enjoyed that with the WestJet liveries and the Edelweiss A340 and just all of it, you know. And once again, just really appreciating the different sizes of the airports. It's not Vancouver with regards to traffic in Calgary, but it's certainly very busy, and there was so many cool planes to see as a byproduct. So very much enjoyed that, and the long days there and just what went into that during the time of the year. It's going to always be a special memory. So really feeling fortunate for that. The original plan was to fly Lynx on the 737 MAX 8. They changed the day, so we got United instead, and they did a wonderful job. It was cool to check out some products that I'm not as familiar with them, especially that ERJ 170 that I've never flown before at that point, so that was fun. I really enjoyed that, and their old aircraft can be really nice, so that definitely goes to show how cool that is, and once again, really enjoyed that, so absolutely awesome. And the Chicago O'Hare International Airport, I was super happy with how that video turned out. I thought it was great, and the future's looking awesome with the expansion projects. I hope all of you enjoyed it, and I'm really excited to share more on O'Hare as we move into the future. It really is an impressive operation considering how many flights they have in and out of there, and I'm excited to cover more of O'Hare as we move into the future. We also have the United Club. It's a really great lounge, and I highly recommend checking it out. They've done a great job in there as of late, and I really enjoyed making that video, so definitely check that one out too. And then we have some more plane spotting before we round it out. We have 3 in a row here, starting with Chicago. That was a great afternoon session with some awesome lighting. Very much enjoyed that, and glad the United offered the long layover. That was fantastic, so very happy about how that turned out with all the international wide bodies and, typical Chicago planes. Got to go to Louisville for the first time. Really enjoyed that. That was an awesome time, as we spotted so many of their unique aircraft, like the MD-11 747s, also all the normal UPS narrow bodies, and then we cannot forget about the amazing USA Jet MD-88 and TSM DC-915 that showed up on that day. Louisville's a great airport. Would love to go back and spot some more, so hopefully that will become a reality. And then we got the opposite end there with FedEx Next, and we had their 777 there along with some other really cool aircraft. We had a C-17 along with a really cool, it was a citation for, I believe, the Air Force, along with a Dornier, whatever the correct military variant of the Dornier prop is. So that was super cool, and no doubt very unique and very, very sentimental in those ways. So really enjoyed that, to say the least. Lastly, finishing up with Southwest as we fly them from Indianapolis to Tulsa via Dallas Love Field on the 737-700. The 2 free checked bags proved powerful in that case, and the vibe was real. And again, the last 8 minutes of that video is really me just briefly talking about what I've talked about in this video. So it was definitely very true and to the heart, and I recommend checking that out if you're interested. And for good measure, one more back to the roots plane spotting session at the Dallas Love Field Airport. Always a great time spotting there, and obviously it's very, redundant, but, it never gets old seeing Southwest getting that volume through there and making money in various ways. So very cool to see that, and overall I really enjoyed it, to say the least. Guys, we started this all the way back in, apologies about that, everybody, but nevertheless, back to the fundamental concept here. What an incredible time to get to share all this content over the last 5 months. I really hope all of you enjoyed it. I know we did spend a long time covering it, but once again, it was quality content, and I really enjoyed getting to show all of you what the landscape of what that area of aviation looks like, and I really hope all of you thoroughly enjoyed checking it out and watching it. Definitely feel free to binge watch it. It's in order for a reason. There's definitely plenty to see, and once again, just so much going on, so many airports, so many airplanes, so many various concepts and functions of aviation we got to appreciate on a greater level in this trip, and I'm really excited to do it again in the future, and I hope all of you are excited to see more to come. So this leads us to where we are going moving forward. So what we're going to see more of is more consolidation on efficiency so that we can get as much content out as possible. So I believe from here we're going to have the Oshkosh content, so I'll be showing that throughout the coming weeks. And then from there, I believe we go to Destin on Allegiant, so excited to cover them for the first time. That'll be fun, along with their appropriate aviation content there. And then after that, we're going to be moving into the recap first we do the California Zephyr trip, which was super fun. There was a bunch of cool flights out of that. And then we'll move into monthly recaps for my flights. So for example, September of 2023, I had quite a few Southwest flights and others, so we'll do that. I know there's a Breeze first class trip reports. So that's kind of the brief rundown of what to expect in the coming months. So I'll do my best to move through it as efficiently and properly as I can. But, I can't really set too many goals, but I would really like at some point next spring, hopefully by March or so, to be into the Hawaii and West Coast trip of 24. That's my goal. I really would like to continue to move forward at a reasonable pace, and there's only so much I can do considering, there's so many flights and just so much to cover with you all, and I really want to share it. So I hope all of you are excited for it, no matter what the case is, and I hope all of you are doing well. Stay safe out there and continue to enjoy all of what's coming here from my channel. We're going to continue to upload no matter what the case is, and we're going to continue to enjoy it as well, and this will certainly be a really great opportunity to have an outlet from all of what's going on in the real world, and I hope all of you feel the same. And over the last 5 months, this content definitely has been so, along with all the other videos that we're making as well. So with that being said, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and one of you for watching. My name is Strategy of Aviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do what you love and love what you do. My name is Strategy of Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Strategy of Aviation is signing off.